Yo, 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 it's the Viz with Triple Flix Mafia, here to do my 31 movies that I've watched during October. I announced this earlier in the month. I made a video, I think it was just an update video or something, or a top 5, and mentioned that I was going to be putting this out, for Halloween time. Most people do the 31 days of Halloween. They do a movie each day. Chad's been doing it. There's a lot of people on YouTube that do it. It's just impossible. There's no way I'd be able to do a video a day. But I have watched actually more than 31 horror movies. But I put the 31, the list I kind of stuck with. There were some movies I just kind of put on in the background. There was some I just couldn't stand. And there's a couple actually sold that are still on the list. But this has been a lot of fun. This is the first time I've ever done this where I've made a video out of it. And kind of keeping a list. It's been really fun, like picking certain movies that I want to put on the list. And, there's some of the go-to Halloween movies that I always watch. There was some first-time watches. Obviously, just some re-watches, things I haven't seen in a while. But it's been a really fun time this month, kind of doing this. I'm definitely going to do this from now on each year. But I'm just going to go down the list. Now, I'm not going to give you too much, of a review of the movie, just because it would just make the video way too long. But I'll give you kind of a quick rundown of what I thought, kind of what I ranked it, if I recommend it or not, and if there's anything on here that you haven't seen before. If I recommend it, obviously I want you to go check it out. So we're going to jump right into this. Number 1. I don't have the movie anymore. I sold it. It was October 1st. We all watched it together. But that was the new release, I think from Epic Pictures, called Candy Corn. And obviously the title alone, sold. We had it pre-ordered, came in. We watched that October 1st, kind of kick off Halloween. And we all hated it. It was just really bad. It just wasn't good. And to be honest, after watching so many movies this month, I can't even recall some of the scenes in it. Does anybody else have that problem besides me? Where, unless you've watched it a day or two before, like it just leaves your brain. We just watch so many movies, especially horror movies where they all kind of have, similar things to them. Like they just completely just leave my brain. But, I just remember not a whole lot happening in Candy Corn. It was just really dry and dull. It was like a really boring Rob Zombie movie. That's what it felt like to me. It didn't have a whole lot of action to it. Didn't have a whole lot of scares to it. The characters were uninteresting. And it was a shame because we were pretty pumped about Candy Corn just being a new Halloween flick that we could possibly throw into the Halloween rotation. But it was a dud. I sold it. I think Tony sold his. I think we all sold it. So yeah, Candy Corn. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out. But I can tell you right now, you're pretty much wasting your time with it. But yeah, that's number 1. Number 2. This one I actually have here with me. Not everybody is fans of these, but it's one I have to watch every October. I don't watch any Halloween movies out of the franchise until October. That's one franchise that I can only watch in October. I don't like to watch them before. But we watched Halloween, Rob Zombie remake. We actually didn't watch this one. We watched the theoretical cut for the first time. I had actually seen it because I saw this movie in the theater. But since then, I'd only seen the unrated. And really liked the theoretical cut more. It cuts out the rape scene. It just tightens it up where it needs to be tightened up. The origin story is I think in the unrated cut it's like an hour long. I think it chopped off maybe 15 minutes of that, which I thought helped. And just overall, just enjoyed it a whole lot more. This is one of my favorite Halloween movies, so it was nice seeing a new cut, and it made it even better. But yeah, big fan of this one. I mean, a solid 8.5 out of 10 for me. And when I rank these, I don't mean 8.5 out of 10 out of all movies, just out of horror movies, my horror movies. I know a lot of people don't like Rob Zombie, but anyways, that was number 2 on the list. Number 3, I went and saw in the theater, like most people probably throughout this month. Not so much a horror movie, but it definitely has some horror elements to it, and that is the new Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. Just a brilliant movie. Very dark, very gritty, and that's why I kept it on the list, because I think it still works. It definitely had some moments that were pretty intense. And, you know, when you start talking about mental illness and people going crazy and some of the visuals and even some of the kill scenes in it, you know, those would fit into any horror movie if you just kind of gave it a different title and whatever it might be. But Joker, I mean, 9.5 out of 10. There was a couple little nitpicks here and there. I mean, stupid things like music selection and you know, just little things. But I thought the way they shoehorned in the Batman stuff worked really well. I was kind of worried about it at first, but as the movie progressed and just some of the visuals, the blood smile, that's all I'm gonna say. That blood smile, that might be my favorite moment of all the movies I've seen this year. It might be my favorite moment of all the movies I've seen in the past 5 years. I don't know, between that and the end of Creed 2 with Rocky, you know, being done and that little moment, I can't think of any other scenes out of any other movies that just like got me on the inside. And that Joker scene at the end was incredible. So I hope it gets all the award stuff that it deserves. I hope it doesn't get screwed from all the controversy and it being a comic book movie. I hope the Academy doesn't shoo it just because of that. So that was number 3, Joker. Number 4, I watched on Amazon Prime or Netflix or something, but 2018 movie, The House That Jack Built. First time watch. I've heard good things about it. I've heard it's extremely, I know it was long, and I've just heard it was really brutal. And it was, but it was done really, really well. Just a solid flick. I would give that also 8.5 out of 10. Oh yeah, Joker, 9.5 out of 10. Candy Corn, 2 out of 10. I'm just trying to make sure I give my rankings. But House That Jack Built, definitely an 8.5 out of 10. Just really well done. It's just long. I did not like the ending though, but the ending really gets out there. Wasn't a fan of that, but it didn't ruin it enough to affect the whole movie for me. So I can't remember how long it was, 2.5 hours, but 2 hours of it I loved. The last half hour, not so much, but I would definitely watch it again, and probably need to watch it again just to process that ending a little bit more. But House That Jack Built, definitely check it out. It's a good one. I wish we would get a Blu-ray for it. It hasn't gotten any like physical copy. Number 5 I have here, another 2018 movie. We watched this just because Tony had never seen it, but we all actually liked it. Everybody really didn't like this movie, but we did. I know Ivy did last year, but that is Hellfest, which I think is a fun October watch. I really like the setting, you know, like the theme park. It just, you know, I thought the killer looks pretty cool. I like the ending. I think they could. I hope they make a Hellfest 2, because they kind of leave it a little bit open-ended. But yeah, just a fun atmosphere. You know, just one of those. Turn your brain off. It's not anything compared to like Joker or House That Jack Built, where it's a more serious movie. This one's one you just turn your brain off and watch some teenagers get tortured, and you know, just enjoy it. But yeah, I give Hellfest a solid 7 out of 10. You know, it's not perfect. It's fun though. So yeah, that was my number 5. Number 6, I picked this up and first time watch, 2019 movie, and that is the new Child's Play. I've never been huge on the Child's Play movies. I like the first one. All the other ones, I just think I've seen bits and pieces of, since I was little. I know there's a few I've never seen, especially like the past 2 or 3 before this one I didn't see. But I felt like I could kind of go into this one fresh since it's kind of a new take. Nothing that I needed to know from like the previous movies. And I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. The kills are awesome. Just fun atmosphere. What's her name? Chad's girl. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. She does a good job. The main boy in it is kind of annoying. I wasn't a big fan of him. But overall, I mean, just the kills alone, I really enjoyed. I was worried about Chucky being like this updated, 2019 Wi-Fi connected smart doll or whatever he was, but it kind of worked. It didn't bother me. I thought it would, and it didn't. And Chucky's pretty brutal in this one, but really enjoyed it. I would give it an 8 out of 10. I'm definitely gonna rewatch this one a bunch. Happy I picked it up. Wish it would have gotten a 4K. Number 7, I ended up selling it because I'm most likely gonna rebuy it soon. I bought the DVD version just so I could check it out. Super cheap. There's a Blu-ray coming soon. First time watch for me, and that is Ringu, the original Japanese Ring movie. And I would have enjoyed it a whole lot more if I had seen it before I saw, the US remake of it. Because the US remake is one of my favorite horror movies. I think it's still scary to this day. Some of the images in that movie are terrifying. And so I've always wanted to see Ringu. It's just one I always kind of forget about. So I bought a cheap DVD of it and ended up watching it. And it's just shot by shot. It's almost the exact same movie. It was creepy, but it was less creepy just because I've seen it before. And to be honest, if I'm going to watch that movie, I prefer the US edition of it, or release of it. So I sold it. I'll probably still pick up. I don't know if I'm going to buy that box set. I might just pick up the individual Ringu. I don't know. I need to hear. I haven't heard anybody's reviews on the second and third one. I think it's Ringu 2 and Ringu 0 or something. But if I hear that those are really good, then I might pick up that box set. I'm still debating because really, if I'm going to watch this story, I'm just going to watch the US movie because I just found it to be better. And it's kind of like last year when I picked up the Rec movies. I watched, obsessed with them, Rec 1 and 2, masterpieces. But then I went back and I watched Quarantine for the first time, the US remake of the first Rec movie. And it was trash, it was just complete garbage. And it was almost shot by shot as well. And so, if I'm going to watch that movie, obviously I'm going to go watch Rec 1 and Quarantine, get out of here. So kind of for this one, it's just the opposite. I'm going to stick with the US Ring and Ringu. We'll see. I'd watch it with somebody if they had never seen it before. Because it's still scary. It's just not as good. I give it a better score because it's the original. But, 7.5 out of 10. I just think the US does it better. And the US to me is 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. Almost perfect. I love that movie. So that was number 7, Ringu. Number 8, classic, just one we all just wanted to rewatch, and that is the original Poltergeist. Got that new edition with that slipcover. Just a classic movie, and you get Craig T. Nelson, Coach Fox. Love Coach Fox from Coach, the TV show. But yeah, classic movie. Nothing really needs to be said. Very effective. All the stuff upstairs in the bedroom and the closet, and the little creepy old lady that comes in. Just some of the visuals in it. Done really, really well. I need to watch the remake. I bought the remake for really cheap because we were talking about doing a countdown for Poltergeist. Not a countdown, a franchise review. So I need to watch the remake, even though I know it's terrible. I've always heard it's terrible. But anyways, the original, always love it. Should be on everybody's list. If not during October, sometime. Can't beat that movie. 8 out of 10 for me. Another first time watch. I've had this one since it came out and just never got around to watching it. Number 9 on the list would be Linda Blair and Hell Night. Scream Factory edition. I'd never really heard much about this. Chad and them had always just said, like, it's okay. You know, kind of the downfall of this movie is, you know, Linda Blair keeps her clothes on. But I watched this. It was pretty dull. I mean, it's a pretty dull movie, the first half of it. But I did really enjoy the ending of it, the second half. It really picked up in the second half when everything started really kind of hitting the fan. The creature that's kind of running around throughout the whole thing, I liked the way he looked. So that was enough for me to want to rewatch it at some point. I was kind of bored, and then it picked up. So, you know, I left the movie with positive thoughts just because the ending was fun. But, you know, definitely not one of my favorite Scream Factories by any means. But I'd pick it up. 6.5, 7 out of 10. Just prepare. It's kind of slow, but it does pick up at the end. So it was a fun watch. I was happy I finally got around to getting to it. Now, this is one that we found last year. We talked about it a good amount. Really goofy movie, and that is Offerings. Just such a ridiculous movie. 1988. Just a straight Halloween ripoff from the music, really just the music. But, you know, it's a kid that's tortured when he's little, and then when he gets older, he starts killing everybody. There's some ridiculous characters in this. Sheriff, I think it's Sheriff Chisholm, the cop in it. He's pretty funny to watch, the way he sways those hips when he walks. But just a ridiculous movie. It's so dumb, but the music saves it. This movie would be unwatchable if it didn't have the just straight John Carpenter Halloween ripoff music. It is the exact same music, just in a different key. It's like in a different octave. And not just the theme song. I mean, multiple Halloween Carpenter songs are ripped off. I think that's just what they told whoever did the music. They were like, go home and just copy John Carpenter, but just tweak it a little bit to where it's not identical. And that's exactly what they did. So without that music, I would not be holding this movie anymore. But I don't know, just because of that music, I really enjoy it. And I think this is getting a 4K release from Kino Lorber. I think that's what we read. I'm gonna upgrade it just because I'm pathetic. But Offerings, I don't even know how to rank it. I don't even know how to recommend it. 6.5 out of 10, 7 out of 10. But the music is the main part that I like so much. I mean, if you're into just bad horror movies, I say pick it up. If you're not, I say stay away from it. But that was number 10, Offerings. Number 11, first time watch. Came out this year, and that is The Curse of La Llorona. Always was interested in seeing this. Heard mixed reviews. Most people didn't seem to really like it. Kind of a dud. But I thought the La Llorona character or whatever, I thought was kind of effective. I kind of liked it. You know, it's got some sketchy CGI here and there. Not one I'm going to watch a whole lot. It's nothing compared to like The Conjuring, Conjuring 2. But I did like it more than like the Annabelle movies. I liked it more than The Nun. The Nun is one I actually watched this month, but I took it off the list because I didn't get to watch like the last 20 minutes of it, and I didn't get a chance to go back to it. But the little bit that I watched, I like this more than The Nun, which I guess that's not saying much. But anyways, it was fine for me. If you find it for cheap, or eventually if it's free on TV, I say check it out. I'm into the Conjuring universe. So you know, I definitely want to see all the movies as they come out. But yeah, I give it, you know, 7 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10, somewhere in that ballpark. Anything above a 5 is, you know, somewhat recommended. Number 12, this is just a movie I love to watch. I don't understand some of it, but there's just something about the vibe of it that I just love. It's really the only one I really like out of the franchise. We talked about this earlier in the year a little bit, but that is the first Phantasm. Love that slipcover. One of my favorite themes, the Halloween theme song is probably, you know, my number one horror theme song. But Phantasm, I think, has become my number 2. It is right there with it. I grew up hearing that theme song, that Master P, Pass Me the Green. So I've always kind of had that little noise kind of stuck in my head growing up. And then I never knew it was from Phantasm. I had no idea this movie existed when I was little. But something about that music really just draws me in. And Tall Man, I mean, just such a great character. Some of the shots of him, everybody knows. I mean, the shot of him walking down the sidewalk during the day, and then he goes like slow motion and looks over, and just so many cool scenes where he's over the bed when he picks up the casket. Just so many good moments. But the movie's out there. I mean, obviously the movie is really out there, and it just gets crazier as the franchise goes. But love it. I just absolutely love it. 9 out of 10 for me. Even without understanding some of the stuff in this movie, it's still just enjoyment, just the vibe of it, the sound, the visuals. 9 out of 10. Just love Phantasm. Number 13, back to the Conjuring universe. Picked this up, first time watch from this year, Annabelle Comes Home. Did not like it. I can't even really talk about it too much because I kind of just checked out a little bit past halfway through it. You know, I really don't like any of the Annabelle movies. The second one was okay. It was better than the first one. I still have them all just because I feel like collecting the Conjuring universe, it's almost like collecting Marvel movies. And I just know at some point I might want to, you know, way down the road I'm going to want to watch through all of them. So I've kept it. I don't know, I might just keep it on my Vudu and get rid of this thing. But wasn't very good. It was just dull. There's like a babysitter that comes, and of course she walks into that room that has all the haunted stuff at their house, and she lets Annabelle out. Everything goes nuts, but it was just dull. It was boring. 4 out of 10. I say stay away from it. Number 14. October classic for me right here. Probably my third, fourth time watching it, and I like it even more every time I watch it. The atmosphere is just incredible, and that is Pumpkinhead. Just love the setting. It's dated, but I don't know, it works, you know. And then having a big creature in a big suit, sometimes that doesn't work, comes off cheesy. I think it works for Pumpkinhead. And I just love the field with the pumpkins. Just the whole atmosphere of this movie is so great. Good story too, you know, his son dies and him trying to like bring him back and conjuring up Pumpkinhead. It's great, just perfect. 9 out of 10. I don't know why I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10, but I just don't give 10 out of 10 very much. But Pumpkinhead, just incredible. If you haven't seen this, or if it's been a while since you've watched it, definitely put it in. It's great. Number 15. This was like the funny movie of the month. Chad had recommended it a while back. I've always heard it's just outrageously ridiculous, and it's Arrow Video. So you always know with Arrow, it's most likely going to be something just insane. But that is Doom Asylum. Oh man, Doom Asylum. It definitely falls into the category of it's so bad it's good. Just ridiculous. Once again, it kind of blends in with stuff. I can't remember just shot by shot, but this main dude, like the mask that he wears, you can just tell it's supposed to look like his skin, like it's all been burned, or I can't remember, acid or something burned his skin. And you know, it's clearly just a rubber mask. You can see his eyes. The teenagers in it that go into this place, just ridiculous. I don't know. Check it out. Once again, if you're into like bad horror movies, especially funny ones like Troll 2, I'm trying to think of others that are just funny bad. The majority I think of is like Samurai Cop, more like action movies, but this fits right in. So just know what you're getting into when you watch it. There's a black dude in this. It's so funny. So many just stupid scenes. I was literally like laughing out loud while watching this, and that's rare. So Doom Asylum, enjoyment, 7.5, 8 out of 10. If you don't think it's funny, then it's gonna easily be like a 1 out of 10 for you. So just know what you're getting into if you ever buy this. I suggest it, but up to you if you want to watch that. Number 16, I don't have anymore because I sold it, and this one I really don't remember anything from it. But it's an anthology that we picked up. I think it came out past couple years, but it's 1031. I think that's another one from Epic Pictures. I could be wrong. I want to say it's the same company as Candy Corn, but I could be wrong. It might be a different company, but 1031, just another anthology, just different little short stories. And all I remember, I know there's a really funny looking cowboy, which I showed that picture, the cowboy mustache thing. It was awful. I mean, like nothing happened. I think that might have been the worst watch of the month. I mean, it was just dreadful. And I think Paul had seen it before, and me and Tony and Chad, we had never seen it. And once again, I think we've all sold it. It was terrible. Just dumpster juice. Just god-awful. And I really don't remember much. I know there's a skating rink scene where I think that's the cowboy scene. I can't even tell you what the other monsters looked like. That's how much this just left my brain. I would have given this same description, I think, the next day, because it was just awful. By the time I woke up the next morning, it was gone. And I sold it, a day or two later. So 1031, stay away from that one. Garbage. Number 17, I rewatched, this is my third time watching it, the Halloween 2018. And I think it's solid, man. Like when I first watched it, I had issues with, the doctor in it. And there was a few things that I missed. I thought there were some little plot holes in the movie. But then the second time I watched it, I noticed those plot holes didn't exist. And there was just some things that I missed throughout kind of the timeline of the movie. I do think that someone should have died at the end, outside of the dad and just some of the goofy characters. Jamie Lee Curtis or the mom, somebody should have died. I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis is going to last much longer in the future Halloween movies, but I still think it's done really well. I really like Michael Myers in it. I like that whole tracking shot of following him where he's killing everybody. I like the ending, kind of how it wrapped up. But I just think someone should have died. It's just one of those things. But anyways, I give it 8 out of 10. It was probably a 6 out of 10 when I saw it the first time, and then it worked its way up. And this third time, I enjoyed it even more. So, really good movie. That's my number 17. So, yeah. Had to sneak that in at some point this month. Number 18, Rob Zombie's new movie. We all picked this up, watched it the night it came out, and that is 3 from Hell, the sequel to Devil's Rejects. And compared to Devil's Rejects, it's not even in the same category. It just felt like a completely different movie. It has a whole lot of fun. And when I think Rob Zombie, I do not think fun. I was laughing in this movie more than anything. I don't know the guy's name. It's the guy from 31. He's also in Halloween 2. He does a lot of stuff with Rob Zombie. But they become kind of like the new little combo. Because Sid Haig, he's only in one scene at the beginning. And I like what they did with him. Obviously, he wasn't healthy enough to really work on the movie too much. Rest in peace, Sid Haig. But, you know, he was a small little portion. Then his character was done, and they're obviously in jail. They somehow survive, you know, the end of Devil's Rejects. Miraculously. Not just one miracle, but 3 miracles. They all somehow survive. But it's Homeboy right here that helps break out Bill Moseley's character. And then eventually Sherry Zombie, she gets out. But they just skip over so much. Like them breaking out of jail, like they're all like on death row and being locked away, and this and that. And then for some reason they have him out like doing like the road work or whatever you call. Like they would let somebody like that do that. And then Sherry Zombie, she easily gets out. And then they all have to get to Mexico, and they don't even show them like going across the border as, you know, like escaped convicts, and they just end up in Mexico. You know, it's just so like brushed over. It's very lighthearted. I mean, it's still got some like cool kill scenes in it. I still kind of enjoyed it, to be honest. I just had to tell myself within 20 minutes of watching this movie that I was just not going to be watching something that would compare to Devil's Rejects. The whole just personality of this movie was way different. But saying that, I still had some fun. I still had fun with it. You know, I just have to accept that it's just not going to be as good as Devil's Rejects, and all these plot holes exist, and I'm just going to take it at face value. I thought their relationship, because they're like a little buddy combo throughout most of the movie, I thought they were great. I loved them. I loved his character. But it just dropped the ball. You know, Rob Zombie just kind of dropped the ball on it. And I know there's some very passionate fans that are hating this movie. And Chad being one. Chad just absolutely despised it. And, you know, I get that. It makes sense. But I didn't really have a connection to Devil's Rejects. I like that movie and House of a Thousand Corpses. But, yeah, I still had fun. It's a keeper for me. I'll definitely rewatch it at some point. So, yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10. Something like that. 6.5 out of 10. Number 19, everybody's favorite Halloween movie. We just had to get it in, and that is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. We watched this the night after 3 from Hell. It just kind of felt appropriate to, you know, stick with Rob Zombie for a couple nights. Once again, we watched the theoretical cut, and I don't know which version I like more. There was things I liked more in this one, and then there was things I liked more in that one. I like the ending of this one more, even though he talks in this. He doesn't talk, I don't think, in the theoretical. This one he talks. What's he say? Die or something? He says like one word. I can accept that. The ending on the theoretical, I did not enjoy. I didn't like. But there was things that they cut out in the theoretical, like the main chick. Can't think of her name. She's way less annoying in the theoretical cut. She just goes crazy in this one, just non-stop, constantly screaming and crying and cussing and this and that. It's just like a turn off. So I enjoyed the cut a little bit more of her. The real emotional scene where the cop finds Danielle Harris, you know, his daughter in the bathroom. You know, he has that real emotional scene when he's crying. They chopped that out on the theoretical cut. And that's always been a really good scene, you know, emotion-wise. And they chopped that part out, so I didn't like that. But anyways, I don't know which version I'll watch from now on, but I've always enjoyed this. I know everybody hates it. I think me and Tony are the only 2 people on this planet that like this movie. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's 8 out of 10. I like it. The White Horse stuff, I just don't pay any attention to it. It can be on the screen and you can just kind of write it off, you know, at least I can. The White Horse stuff is stupid. I think that's Rob Zombie's attempt at trying to be a little artsy-fartsy, and it just didn't work. There's plenty of other directors that have tried to do something a little bit different. It doesn't work, but it doesn't ruin the movie for me. I think the kills are insane in that movie. The whole hospital dream sequence, awesome. Love it. So, yeah, Halloween 2, that was my number 19. Told y'all this video was going to be long. Number 20. I think this has become my number one favorite Scream Factory. I actually did a review of this on our channel earlier in the year. Had to get it in just for the atmosphere alone and the music, and that is The Fog. Just absolutely love it. I think this is only like maybe my fourth or fifth time watching this movie. I used to actually think it was kind of slow, and it has just gotten better and better over time for me. I really think it might be John Carpenter's best movie. Halloween, more of the popular pick. It's still I like Halloween more than this. But if it wasn't Halloween, if it didn't have like that theme music, if it didn't have a holiday to go with it, the best way to compare it is The Dark Knight is my favorite movie of all time. But I think Inception is Christopher Nolan's best movie. Just most well thought out. I think it's his masterpiece. I think Dark Knight's a masterpiece too, but I think Inception is a better movie. Even though I like Dark Knight more. Kind of the same here. Like, I think this is a better movie, but I like Halloween more. But anyways, if you haven't seen The Fog, stop watching my video, go find it and watch it. The music's incredible, the atmosphere, just everything about it I love. So yeah, The Fog, another one of my favorite watches this month. Number 21, another one that we all love and a lot of people don't like, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Just a solid, The Fog, 10 out of 10. That's getting it. That's getting that 10 out of 10 for me. Halloween 3, for me, 8 out of 10. My favorite John Carpenter score is in Halloween 3. You know, they just tried to do something different. Didn't work. It was a flop. And then they just never attempted again. I didn't really care about this movie growing up. I might have seen it, a handful of times before I bought the Scream Factory. And then ever since I bought this, I've watched it, each year. And this was years ago when I bought it. But I watch it each year and I just enjoy it more and more. I like the Halloween masks. I like it's just, around Halloween time, the trick-or-treating, the music. I don't know, I just have a good time with it. I think it's really creative. I think it deserves a remake, to be honest, and just call it Season of the Witch. I think that would be really cool to do. Maybe amp it up a little bit, add some more kills in it and stuff. But Halloween 3, solid, 8 out of 10 for me. Number 22, for the homie Chad, had to sneak this in this month. This is my second time watching it since last year, and that is Brain Scan. Just such a fun movie. Once again, the music's incredible. The trickster, really fun character. Just once again, really good atmosphere. I think this was this late 80s? 94. I was about to say, it feels like perfect 90s horror movie. Edward Furlong, as stupid as he is, I think he does a pretty good job in this. Besides the way he walks. I mean, what did he, have a broken leg while they were filming? Chad, answer that for me, because I meant to ask you that when I was watching it. Is there something wrong with his leg? Has he always been like that? I saw him at Days of the Dead in Atlanta, and he did seem to have kind of like a gimpy leg. Has that just always been like that? I couldn't remember in Terminator 2 if he walked like that. But anyways, Brain Scan, awesome movie. I'd say 8.5 out of 10 for me. I'm sure it's gonna raise as I watch it more. But I love the whole video game and how it all kind of plays out. I think it's just really creative. It's a really fun movie. So if you haven't picked up this edition, you need to get it. I think there's also a cheaper 2-pack or something you can get with this on it. But Brain Scan, highly recommended. Number 23. Paul told me about this one. Now, me and Paul are into the artsy-fartsy horror movies, like The Witch, Midsummer, Mandy, I'm trying to think of all, Hereditary. We dig them. Tony and Chad, not so much. They like Hereditary, but about everything else they're not fans of. But Paul had heard about this one. I don't even know what this company is. Doppelganger Releasing. But it's another gothic folk tale, kind of like The Witch, called Hagazusa. I don't even know if I'm saying that correct. It was only like $12 on Amazon. Paul watched it and recommended it. And he said, just prepare. It's like a mixture of The Witch and Midsummer. Which that would probably turn most people off, but not me. It intrigued me, so I picked it up, watched it, really enjoyed it. And I've talked about it, here and there since I watched it with, like through comments and stuff. And a lot of people, there was one person I heard, they thought it was garbage. But, it's like the life of a witch pretty much. This little girl, her mom dies. I think her mom became a witch. And she just lives out. She has a baby. And she lives out by herself, like secluded. I want to say like in the Swiss Alps or something. And this is all like in French or German. It might be German. I'm pretty sure it's German. I could be wrong. So you got subtitles and stuff, but there's not much dialogue, so I mean it doesn't even really matter. But you see her kind of progressing into being a witch herself, and just all this stuff goes down. There's some really bloody scenes. This one's a whole lot more bloody, and action-packed is the wrong word, because there's not much action. It's very slow-paced. It is, beyond slow burn. But when stuff does happen, it gets pretty intense. But I recommend it if you're into these types of movies. I enjoyed it. It's a nice change of pace. As you can tell from what I've showed you so far, I've tried to find a mixture in like 80s and stuff that's brand new, stuff that's funny, stuff that's dark, and then this one obviously, kind of being the artsier pick of the month. But I recommend it. I'm glad I watched it, and Hagazusa, check it out. 24. This is an interesting rewatch for me because I watched it for the first time years ago with the guys, and for some reason I didn't like it. And then I sold it, and then over time, the guys talk about it here and there. Everybody seems to love this movie, so I was like, man, I just got to give it another shot. I found it for a good price. Intruder, from, I forgot what year this came out. 80, I want to say 88. But yeah, it's the Synapse release Intruder, all set in the grocery store, and just some really dumb characters in it. But man, it was so fun. I just don't understand. Maybe I was just in a bad mood the first time I watched it, and I just didn't really care about it. Maybe I just needed some money and I sold it. I have no idea why this didn't click with me the first time, but second time, thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It kind of drags at parts, but awesome kills, all practical effects. The grocery store setting is fun just because you don't see that very often. And loved it. Some really funny lines in it too, just ridiculous dialogue between some of the characters. But yeah, Intruder, really had fun with that one. Another first time watch, this new release from Blue Underground, Lucio Fulci, however you say his name, the New York Ripper, got with that like lenticular slip. Well, let me just say this to start off, I'm selling it, so if that tells you anything. I don't know, I just didn't really like it. It obviously has plenty of like TNA and stuff like that, but outside of that, it was just kind of dreadful to me. Like, it just wasn't a fun watch. When it comes to like Italian horror and stuff, I like Argento. I've liked some of his movies. There's some other ones. I can't remember what else I have, but I don't know if this is the first Lucio Fulci movie I've seen. I feel like there's something else I've seen of his, but regardless, just really like it. I like the New York atmosphere to it. The girl situations in it, not too bad, but man, like, it wasn't enough to save it for me. So this is actually, I think it's already on my eBay. I don't know if I've listed it yet, but New York Ripper, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. A lot of people seem to like it. I just didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't bad. It just, there's there was nothing in it that would make me want to rewatch it. So there's no need in keeping it. But yeah, New York Ripper, number 25. All right, last little bit here. Number 26, one of my favorite Halloween movies to watch during October. I think it came out 4 or 5 years ago, but that is The Houses October Built. I'm a big fan of found footage movies, and this one's kind of a blend of found footage and then, not found footage. But I just really enjoy it. I love going to haunted houses. I just like the atmosphere of it. I think it's really fun. And so this one always kind of intrigued me before I saw it. And ever since, I just really like it. It gets kind of crazy towards the end where you kind of stretch, stretch your imagination just a little bit. But I don't know, it works for me. I like the characters in it. I think like the found footage people, and I think that's a lot of it is real footage where they go to real haunted houses and actually get some real footage of real haunted houses and real characters and stuff like that, but then they blend in the fake stuff to kind of make it a movie. The second one I did not enjoy at all. Watched it once and have never thought twice about watching it again, but this one's solid for me, 8.5 out of 10 as a Halloween movie. And yeah, I like it. I dig it. Number 27, going back to the Scream Factories a little bit. Want to get a werewolf film in there, and I watched The Howling. Now, this was maybe my second time watching this movie. I watched it the first time when I first bought it, and I enjoyed it. I'm not crazy about werewolf movies, but I did enjoy it. And then this time watching it, didn't enjoy it so much. I thought the first half of it was just boring, just so boring. I didn't remember really anything, but when it finally does get to like the werewolf stuff, the transformation scenes, some of the kill scenes, the werewolf is terrifying. I will give it that. The werewolf stuff, really well done. The rest of the movie though is just kind of a dud for me. It went down a few notches. I used to think this was like an 8 out of 10, but I'd have to give it a 6 out of 10. Just enjoyment. And I know that's not the popular opinion. Most people seem to really like this movie, but for the werewolf stuff, it's really well done, but I don't know. Just didn't really do it for me. But yeah, that's The Howling. Number 28, another Scream Factory. This was my third watch, I believe, of this movie. The first time I watched it, I thought it was just a slow burn. I thought it was boring. But I wanted to like it. I just wanted to like it. And then the second time I watched it, it got a little bit better. This time I was like, okay, I'm really gonna I was prepared for a slow burn. Really want to process this movie because a lot of people, it's high up on a lot of people's horror list, but that is John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. And I can say I liked it so much more this time. I just like the story of it. I think it's really creative. It is slow. I mean, it's definitely a slow movie, but I really liked it. This went from probably being like a 5 out of 10 for me up to like a 7 or 8. And I think I'm going to like it more and more every time I watch it. So yeah, Prince of Darkness, solid watch. Really glad I decided to watch it again. It's just really good. I just really, really liked it. So, yeah. 29, my second favorite October movie to watch. Just top of the list. Everybody knows about this movie. Trick or Treat. Just one of the best. Just can't beat it. I love everything about it. My favorite thing about it is it feels like a family movie, but then it has all this kind of edgy, fun kills and monsters and blood and TNA, like you get everything in it, but just the overall personality of the movie feels like you're watching like a John Hughes movie or something. And obviously Sam is just iconic now. His little character is so much fun. I like all the different little stories and how it all like wraps around together. I love the little girl that's a witch in the movie. I like her character a lot. And it's just such a really just smart Halloween movie. And I hope we get a sequel. Michael Daughtry, I think that's the director's name. He's talked about doing a sequel, so I hope that we get it at some point. But yeah, Trick or Treat, top of the line. Now I'm really excited to talk about number 30. Paul had mentioned, he threw it, our little group text, he had mentioned this movie, asking if any of us had seen it. Found footage movie, which I love found footage movies if they're done good. And that is Hell House, LLC, however you say it. And it was on Amazon Prime to watch. I want to say it's a 2017. I should know this. I should have looked it up. But I want to say it's 2017, 2016 found footage movie about this group of young adults, and they're going to open up a haunted house. And so the very beginning of the movie, you actually get, it's like a person that's going to the haunted house on the night that it opens. And these people go in, this girl's recording and stuff, but then like panic happens and you don't know what's going on. Everybody's running out and screaming and freaking out. And then the police investigation, they find one of the girls that's like part of the group that started the haunted house. And she has all this footage of when they first bought this hotel and they're going to fix it up into a haunted house. They were like documenting the whole thing. So she had all this footage that the police didn't have. And so, you know, then we start going through like the found footage aspect where you're starting to see like the very beginning when they go into this hotel and they start making it into a haunted house and all these things start happening. Doesn't really make sense. All this stuff starts happening, yet they still open up the haunted house in October for the public to come into. I guess they just had too much invested or something and they just had to follow through. But really well done. Really well done. And I think I like it. House is October Built, I thought was my favorite found footage style Halloween movie. I think this is my new. I think this takes the spot. I'd give it a 9 out of 10 for what it is. It's really creepy. There was one scene that I thought was super effective. It was super simple. It's something I've seen before, but just the way they did it, it actually kind of had me like, you know, worked up for a second. But I really enjoy it. 9 out of 10. I highly recommend it. It's free on Amazon Prime. There's also a DVD edition that has a director's cut, which I've already ordered. I'm looking forward to watching that. And there's 2 sequels. One of them's on Prime. I'm gonna rent that and watch that. And then there's a 3rd sequel as well. And you know, I don't have a whole lot of hopes in sequels, but the trailer for the second one looked really good. So I'll be checking that out as well. But Hell House, couldn't recommend it enough. Definitely check it out. Really, really enjoyed it. If you're into found footage, highly recommend it. Really good movie. I think we all know what 31 is going to be. It's just the movie that you have to watch on Halloween. And John Carpenter's Halloween. Just the perfect Halloween movie. Almost a perfect just horror movie. Just everything about it. And we all know this. So yeah, I'm not going to say anything. We all know that this is the best Halloween movie ever. So yeah. It has been so much fun watching all these, talking about them, just putting my list together, just, you know, picking what I want to watch, and watching such a wide variety from older movies to newer things and artsy stuff to just dumb stuff like Doom Asylum, you know, just a mixture. First time watches. Hell House was just it's such a good feeling when you find a new little gem. I can't believe we had never seen this movie before, and the guys haven't watched it yet. I watched it by myself first and was kind of the guinea pig on it to see if it was any good, and I've already I think they all bought it as well. So anyways, that's it. Happy Halloween. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Leave your comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on any of the movies, or based off of what I said, some recommendations or whatever it might be. But now it's time to get into November and start getting into some Christmassy stuff, Christmas movies, Thanksgiving, you know, kind of get out of like the dark October horror mode that I've been in. But this has been such a blast. I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate all the support you've given us this year. Obviously, Halloween time is a fun time to really pump out some fun videos. We also just released our Halloween franchise ranking and reviews video. It's a really fun one. Shout out to Chance for making that awesome intro. He does all the editing for our franchise videos. So shout out to you, Chance, and I just appreciate it. Hope y'all have had a good Halloween. Comment down below, let me know what you think, and I will talk to y'all later. It's the Viz, Triple Flix Mafia. Hit that thumbs up. Peace out.